Welcome, everybody, to Behind the Masterpiece. I am your host, Brian Hersh. I happen to be the CEO for the Arts and Cultural Alliance of Sarasota County here on this fabulous Florida's cultural coast. Behind the Masterpiece, found by Visit Sarasota. You can always go to visitsarasota.com. And with us, behind the Masterpiece today, is the one, the only. It's Justin Gomlak. He is the Director of Education and Community Engagement, the Wezel Performing Arts Hall. Justin, welcome to Behind the Masterpiece.
Thank you very much, Dr. Hersh.
Oh, Doctor, that's my brother. He's Dr. Hersh, PhD, not me, but I appreciate that.
But I say it with love and respect, and yes. Hi, hey, Brian. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you. Respect mutual. So listen, Justin, it's been quite an interesting fall for folks here in Sarasota, but you know what?
Really? What's going on?
But I don't know. But what I do know is this is a really special place, and there's a lot on the horizon. I am out all the time. It means I'm probably going to be visiting you like any moment, any day, because the Van Wezel is getting ready to welcome people back to the Performing Arts Hall. So Justin, how excited are you? What's happening? Are you ready?
We are so excited. We are very ready. We are coming back better than ever. There are lots of new things that when difficulty and lemons are sent your way, we made some lemonade here, I have to say. I'm very excited about that. There's some brand new floors that people are going to be very excited to see. I think they're very beautiful. They're very unique because what we did was, in order to become more resilient for potential future issues that we might have, we removed a lot of the carpet. We removed all of the carpet that was damaged in the storm, but also underneath that, what it revealed was essentially the footprint of the Van Wezel, and so we dyed and polished the concrete, and you can literally see in the concrete where the old Van Wezel ended, and where the was a 2000. There's an expansion in 2000 where that took over, because the makeup of the concrete is different, and so it reacts with the dye. So it's almost like you're able to kind of weave a narrative about the life of this incredible building just by looking at this newly exposed floor. It's not perfect, right? There's a lot of irregularity in the concrete, but to me that makes it really, really interesting.
It sounds very artistic, Justin. I mean, and art's very adaptive and creative, so you're continuing on that trend.
Indeed. We in the community education and community engagement department, when we found out about the fact that our building was going to be closed for a while, we very quickly pivoted, and we leveraged our relationships with various community members, various organizations, and schools in the area, and we moved all of our education programming to different venues so that we could still provide to the students, and for their field trips, we could still provide these performance experiences, and I'm really proud of that, actually, because it was because of the community that we are trying to create, and that the community that we live in. It was frankly not easy for some of our partners and schools to make room for us, and they did it without even a second thought, which is testament to how much people love the Van Wezel, and also how much people are about our community and helping us when we're in need.
Yeah, kudos. It just shows that the Van Wezel is part of the fabric of this community here in Sarasota County. And with that, we know while it's connected strongly to the community that's here, it's also a magnet for those who are visiting. And what's really cool, you're welcoming people at a time where we call this after the holidays, to an extent, it becomes like really peak season for some in Sarasota. So doors welcoming back people. What are people excited to experience, as they can always find information and buy tickets, of course, at vanwezel.org. as well. So if
Yes.
I go to vanwezel.org, what am I going to find? What should I be checking out, Justin?
And I just want to say, make sure that you go to vanwezel.org and not vanwezel.com. Vanwezel.com is a third-party ticket provider. Vanwezel.org, you're going to get it from the source, and that is where you really need to focus. And please go there. We have a robust season. Our winter and spring is the bulk of our season, and we have 6 Broadway shows coming. And arguably the hits of our season are coming. So Funny Girl is coming in the middle of January. We have Moulin Rouge in March, and then in April Beetlejuice. So these are exciting full weeks of Broadway. Of these touring Broadway productions that are first class, and then uh, don't forget Les Mis is in the mix as well. So we have these, really um, we bring the highest quality of the touring productions to our area, and you can only see it here at the Van Wezel. In addition, there's all sorts of other uh, concerts and comedians, and the I know the ballet is playing, and the orchestra, of course, is here. So it really is the fullest expression of all of the various disciplines of art, and so you might not like all of it, but there'll be something for everyone. I promise.
Something for everyone. Vanwezel.org is where we can find those tickets to go, which is fantastic. People are excited. You don't have to go to New York. You can come right here to Sarasota County in Sarasota and to the Van Wezel Performing Arts Hall. But I know that there are some people, you and I have both spent time in New York. I lived there. You lived there.
As today.
Justin is speaking modestly and humbly about how Broadway is going to be right here in Sarasota, appearing on that stage at the Van Wezel. But Justin, I'm pretty sure you're a legend as well. That you have been in those great bright lights of Broadway.
I have,
You're an
yes.
incredible artist in your own right, Justin. Before we even talk about that experience a little bit, how did you get from Broadway to Van Wezel Way? What brought you down here to the beautiful community of Sarasota County?
My dad. My dad brought me down here. My dad was a snowbird here for many years and a huge, huge fan of the arts. And he would always talk about all of the various things he'd be doing all the time in this community. And when I would come and visit, we would go and see things. And um, so when it was time to look for a place to be close to him as he aged, we landed here, and I'm so. It was originally just going to be like a investment property, or we'll use it when we need to eventually move down here,
When the weather's
and
bad in New York, and you're
when the
like, hey,
weather's bad in New York,
mm,
exactly. And then when COVID happened, I was here for 16 months working remotely, and maybe a month and a half in, uh, I turned to my husband and we were like, could we do this? Like, and the answer was resoundingly yes. And, um, and so we very quickly, upon returning to New York, um, came up with an exit strategy to move down here. And part of that was me looking for a job. And I had recently gotten my degree in educational leadership, and I cast a really wide net as far as like what kind of job it would be. But this particular job that I'm sitting in is exactly the kind of job I was hoping to have, because it capitalizes on my experience in the commercial theater from being on Broadway many years, and then also from being in both the classroom, which I was a arts teacher at a private school in New York for 10 years. Uh, so those two worlds coming together in one position was really exciting, and it provided a lot of opportunity for my personal growth, because there was a lot that I didn't know how to do in this job, but also I was able to, like I said, capitalize on that previous experience.
Justin, from Broadway to Van Wezel Way, Boulevard of the Arts here in Sarasota. It's not easy to get to Broadway. It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of practice, a lot of rehearsal,
And a lot
um,
of luck, and a lot
and
of luck.
and and some of that right place, right time does.
Yep,
And like just as this gig, everything like
exactly.
the stars have to align. That's part of the arts world. I worked with a Broadway artist all the time in New York City when I worked at Lincoln Center, and he would say to me, "When a door closes, a window opens." I'm
Yeah,
sure you relate to
absolutely.
that in many ways. But talk to us about some of your favorite highlights and experiences on Broadway because you got to originate some pieces, you got to step into some roles. What were some of the highlights for when you spent time on Broadway?
I My typical response to that is I have three favorite shows.
Okay.
One, my favorite that I starred in, which was the producers. I was the understudy to Matthew Broderick, to the Matthew Broderick role, and so I was able to play that part many times. And This is a dream come true to be able to
Yeah.
be in the spotlight and take over the you know that helming that ship for the amount of time that I got to do it. It was a huge hit on Broadway at the time, so it was sort of a big deal. But then my favorite role that I originated was. The favorite show that I originated was Seussical the musical. I'm really proud that I was in the original company of that. I helped develop that show, and uh, I'm proud of it because it's lived on in so many students' experiences, and actually students and adult experiences, because it's been done. It's one of the most produced shows in the United States because of its amazing content. And the connection to literacy that is woven throughout, obviously because it's based on Dr. Seuss stories, um, and then my favorite show that I've seen. I know it's very on trend right now, but I love Wicked. Uh, Before the movie even showed its reared its head, and I think the movie is amazing. But I do the musical itself is pretty fabulous. So those that's my stock answer of the favorite shows that I've done. But I was very lucky. I worked in multiple different capacities in many different shows, as a regular cast member, as a swing, as a dance captain, originating shows. I was on the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade multiple times, and the Tony Awards multiple times, and in shows that won Tony Awards and things like that. So, really got to experience all of the various aspects of what that industry is and that business at its highest levels, and I'm very grateful.
We're grateful that you're here. Kudos, amazing work. Justin Gomlak, Director of Education and Community Engagement at the Van Wezel. Justin, you do make that sound really natural and easy. We know it's not. Where yes, there's some luck involved. It's a lot of hard work, but there's a thread. While we know your title is about education and community engagement, and you talked about student experiences even in just your last answer, but what's so important about arts education and you've always had a deep commitment? What did it mean to you? How did it provide those opportunities? And why are you so committed to making sure that people have that same opportunity that you might have had?
I mean, how much time do we have left,
Yeah,
Brian? I mean, I could talk a long time about this,
we
but
probably could.
it's arts education is so essential, um, not to develop artists in the world. Yes, that happened with me. I became an artist in the world, and did it to make my money as a professional. But arts education at its core is really about developing the humanity in all of us, because it's through an artistic process that we're developing the skills as a student, or as a child and as an adult, those skills that we use in the world to make the world better: collaboration, clear communication, discipline, t- being daring, thinking outside the box. empathy, understanding the life of somebody that has a very different experience from ours, and being able to not necessarily judge it, um, but try to understand it, so that we can move forward as a society. These things are cultivated in an arts education, in any kind of arts making process, whether you're practicing your clarinet in your house, or whether you're going to your ballet class, or whether you're participating in the school play. Those are more specific ways of engaging with the arts. But we also, at the Van Wezel Performing Arts Hall, we really, and I would be remiss if I didn't say that all of our programming is funded by the generosity of the Sarasota Performing Arts Foundation, and we have completely aligned missions of understanding the value of arts education in the development of a child, and we bring arts integrated activities into all of the things that we do with whether we're in an after school program, or in a senior center, or actually in the schools themselves. We use the arts to help support curricular learning, and it's just another way for a student to engage with the arts, and to engage with their learning, because not everybody learns in a typical way. I told you I could talk a really long time about this, so I'm gonna rein it in. But the um, the opportunity that the arts gives to us, just to be better people, and plus it winds up being a lot of fun. It winds up being a place to connect with people, like-minded people, or people with similar interests. Um, it develops relationships, and develops the possibility of cultivating further relationships. There's so much that we gain from an arts education approach to the world. So I'll leave it at that.
But Justin, I think one of the things that's really important that we talk about, so yes, our Broadway shows and all these performances entertain our community, but we never really stop learning when we get to go to these experiences. And I think it really kind of stretches us. So how great as the Van Wezel reopens and welcomes our community and welcomes our visitors, that people get to continue to have a little spirit and raise the spirits at this time, but also that people get to continue to learn as well. So thank you for bringing that light, Justin.
Can I just put one more plug in, if you don't
Please.
mind? I do want to reiterate, we are back, and that also means all of our ancillary programming is back. So you can take tours of the Van Wezel. You can take dance classes here at the Van Wezel, both in a just a community low key dancing way, or also I run a masterclass program that's connected to all of our shows that will be on the main stage. We have a great deal of programming that we offer, and we would love to see you back here, because we're coming back better than ever, and you should be a part of it too.
Yeah. Well, thank you for welcoming everyone back. Thank you for welcoming me back. I know Justin has taught me some choreography before in some of our education meetings and so on. So if
you were genius at it, yes, you were.
He's being so kind. If I can do it, then I think anybody probably can dance as well. I think it was even fun, I'll dare to say.
I mean, there was a smile on your face. I did clock the smile. So
I know it was fun. Justin Gomlak, thanks so much for being on Behind the Masterpiece.
Thank you very much, Brian Hersh.
All right, it's a pleasure. Until next time, we'll see you soon. Thanks for listening to this episode of Behind the Masterpiece, brought to you by Visit Sarasota County. For more and to hear this podcast, go to visitsarasota.com.